Hi guys, it's lunch break once again. Samahan nyo ko. Let's look for a place where we can do our next vlog. In today's vlog, we will be discussing Little Book of BIM. Hi guys, so I just found the best place where I can just sit and do a review in this next vlog. I'm gonna go through the contents of the book and share with you some of our reactions and some of our conclusions that will lead to your better understanding of BIM. I will read to you the introduction. Welcome to the BSI Little Book of BIM. This handy guide is your quick reference to some of the key terms which are commonly used in describing BIM and its related processes, as well as your link to the key standards. So from that, you know that you will be learning processes as well as key standards in BIM. So stay with us. But first, let's have a little bit of an intro. Okay, we're back to the review of the Little Book of BIM. We are in the place called the Marina Promenade of the Lusail City. It is about a 10-minute drive from where I'm working. And so I'd like to share with you this beautiful place. It's a fantastic place to rest during midday. You can bring your lunch. If you're working nearby, you can bring your family during the weekends or even in the evening. All right, the contents of this Little Book of BIM includes BIM definitions, core BIM standards, guiding principles, terms and abbreviations. You can see it in your screen right now. I'm flashing it for you. There are only 36 pages, but to understand it deeply, you have to read it over and over again, and this is what I'll be sharing with you. So usually BIM publications will always define BIM. So this is the description of BIM, definition of BIM as defined here in this Little Book of BIM. Building information modeling, BIM is a collaborative way of working. Way of working means process, underpinned by digital technologies. So as you know, digital technologies that we adapt to in design and construction is relating to softwares and hardwares used in the design, construction, and even operation of buildings these days. It uses a shared digital representation of an asset. Let me pause for a while. Digital representation of an asset. Simply said, this is the model. This is the BIM, composing of the architectural, structural, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, firefighting, interior design, landscape, roadworks, infrastructure, everything that comprises the model. So they call it the digital representation of an asset. So let me just go back. It uses a shared digital representation of an asset to facilitate design, construction, and operation processes to form a reliable basis for decisions. Greater efficiencies can be realized due to significant pre-planning during the design and construction phases, providing comprehensive information at handover stage. So as you can see in this image, in the graphic image I'm showing to you, it shows a graphical representation of the scope of BIM, from design to build to operate and up to decommissioning and recycling. BIM encompasses all from design up to the decommissioning. There are 4 points here that are very important. You can see that sustainability is covered, digital transformation, that is where the drawings are now digitized. We have the supply chain and procurement. So after the BIM definition, you will see the core BIM standards that are being shown. Highlighted here are the two ISO standards, which is ISO 19650 Part 1 and Part 2. You can see it in your screen right now. Actually, these ISO standards are available for download. Just go to the website of BSI. There are free standards that can be downloaded, and there are also other standards that are for sale. Let's go to the next part, which is the BIM Guiding Principles. So BIM has introduced some new principles in how assets should be designed, built, and operated. As you can see, the process of design, build, and operation is always mentioned in this book, because that's how BIM works. That's how the process goes from the design to construction and to operation. So one of the first part of this BIM guiding principles, there will be 5 guiding principles in BIM. So the first is entitled People, Processes, and Technology. You can see it in your screen right now. So BIM is not just about technology. It's not just a software. It's not just about having a powerful hardware to do your design. BIM is not just about technology. It's a new way of designing, again, constructing and managing assets enabled by the use of technology. As we all know, we cannot avoid technology. Technology is now part of our life. Equally, if not more fundamental than technology, is the set of processes that should be followed, as well as the change in working practices at an operations level. This is mentioning the ISO 19650 and PAS 1192 series of standards, as I have mentioned in the previous pages of this book. So the second guiding principle is collaborative engagement. Keyword: collaborative. One of the key success indicators of a project using BIM is the degree to which the supply chain has worked in collaboration to meet the process or asset needs. This means working openly. Remember that word, openly, as well as sharing information. Let's go back to working openly. Working openly for me, and based on experience, is being transparent among all of the stakeholders in a building project. That means from design, the designer, and the owner, and the consultants, and other stakeholders during the design stage are collaborating already. And when you go to the construction, you will have the contractor, you will have the suppliers, you will have the authorities to be openly involved in how the building is being developed and being built. So this means working openly as well as changing. Let me just repeat it. This means working openly as well as sharing information and experience with supply chain members in a way that encourages collective problem solving and coordination. As we all know, in construction, there are so many problems that we will be facing. First up is coordination. Si architect, si structural engineer, si mechanical, si electrical engineer, si product supplier, and even magkakaroon ng problems yan when the design is not fully coordinated. And who will be suffering? The owner, because he's paying for the services of all of these stakeholders para maitayo yung building niya. And it doesn't only affect the owner, it will also affect the other stakeholders. Of course, kapag may kontrata tayo sa owner, merong terms of the contract. Sometimes, and most of the time, kapag na-delay ka sa submission mo, kapag na-delay ka sa construction mo, meron kang penalty. So it will affect not only the owner, also the consultant, also the builder. So that's why it's very important to be able to solve problems firsthand. Bago tayo maghukay, bago tayo magbuhos, bago tayo bumili ng materyales, dapat na-resolve na yan lahat in a collaborative environment which BIM is offering us. So the next guiding principle is this, very important. If you are used to reading, the 7 habits of successful people, this will not be new to you. It says, start with the end in mind. A key problem, let me read it. A key problem that is addressed by using BIM is the issue of rush decisions being made with insufficient and or incorrect information. Starting with the end in mind, these decisions are pushed upstream so that they are better informed and do not present themselves unexpectedly. Examples of this include completing all principal design work. That's where the consultant is. That's where the architect and engineers are. Examples of this include completing all principal design work and coordination before the commencement of construction. So ideally, when the design is issued, when it is issued for construction, when it is at the stage of issued for construction stage, it is supposed to be properly coordinated. And the best way to coordinate it is to design it using BIM. So the next BIM guiding principle is called digital asset. Okay, let's go through it. You can see it in your screen. It's becoming increasingly recognized that monetary value is not solely attributed to the physical asset, but also attributed to the representation of that asset. In other words, the collective sum of all data or information describing the physical asset. Knowing that this digital asset accurately represents the physical asset, design, construction, and operating decision can be optimized. So, as we know, the digital asset right now, we have now are the drawings, the specifications, the material data, which does not come anymore in blueprint, CAD printout, book of specifications, bill of quantities. All of those are now digitized in your building information model. Hindi naka-PDF, hindi naka-JPG. It is in the building information model. So the last BIM guiding principle that is mentioned in this book is called holistic approach to security. Once it has been identified what needs to be protected and the threats and consequences associated to this in order to ensure the security of a sensitive asset and sensitive information, a holistic approach should be adopted covering people, process, technological security, and physical security. So those are the 5 guiding principles of BIM as mentioned in this book. I totally agree with this guiding principle. So next will be the terms and abbreviations. If you have been working in BIM and you have been in BIM for several years now, or you work on a BIM project for the last 2-3 years, you will be very familiar with these terms and abbreviations. You have the AIR, PIR, project information, level of information needed, and there's also the BIM execution plan. Let me just pause with the BIM execution plan. Actually, one of the backbones or soul of a BIM project is the BIM execution plan. This is like the Bible of how the project will be executed, the standards that will be used for the specific projects. Because as you know, the standards that was mentioned earlier, the ISO 19650 Part 1 and Part 2 doesn't always apply. All of these does not always apply to a specific project. So when you have a BIM execution plan, this is where you specify what are the specific requirements for the project that you are doing, from design, construction, and even for the operations. Sometimes there are projects that BIM is only implemented during construction stage. There are projects where BIM is only implemented for the as-built, so that they can have the information to be transferred to the building operator. So it depends on the magnitude of the project, depends on the importance of the project, and depends on the budget. And it depends on the budget of the owner. Okay, this is the last part that I will be discussing in this beautiful little book of BIM, is global BIM adoption. You can see it in your screen right now. I will read it and then we'll discuss it. Governments around the world have already or are starting to introduce different requirements to embed the adoption of BIM. That's very true. In 2016, the UK government introduced a condition of contract requiring all government commissioned construction projects to be delivered at BIM level 2 competence. In Singapore, it became mandatory in 2015 for projects greater than 5,000 square meters. In Germany, it has been mandated with BIM from 2020. Just this year. And Hong Kong has issued a number of circulars to foster the adoption of BIM technology in public works project, government project in Hong Kong. In the Philippines, as far as we know, based on our research, the mega developments that we have there, the Clark Development Project, the New Manila International Airport in Bulacan, the Philippine Arena, the mega Philippine Arena, the government buildings like the new Senate building are already using BIM in design and construction, and probably and most likely in operation. And there are also several large architectural companies in our country who are very popularly using BIM. One company that I will feature is IDEA, who are at the forefront of BIM in the Philippines. Will BIM be only adopted for big project? Can't it be used for small project, for the individual architect, for architect Juan de la Cruz, who is based in the province, who is doing 2 2, 3 bedroom residences, some shops. Maliliit na project, maybe 5 million or less, or maybe 10 million or less, or maybe up to 20 million pesos worth of project. Is it worth it to use BIM for these projects? Let me pause for a while because you need to think. Based on my experience, I've used it in design of a residential building which is worth less than 3 million pesos. I've used BIM in the design of a building, of a residential building, a 3-story residential building worth less than 6 million pesos. So it is very possible. You just have to learn the software, you have to learn the processes, you have to learn the standards and be able to use it for your advantage. As of now, we are using AutoCAD in the design. So when you get used to the BIM software, it will come naturally for you. Coordination between the architectural, structural, and the other engineering utilities will come naturally when you do the design. Of course, that is meant for architects, the practicing architects who are doing design, who are doing design build, and who are serving as consultants for mega projects. So here in Qatar, back in 2015, there is a future BIM implementation seminar that I've attended. That was the first ever. The government have foreseen what can be adopted for the country. So it started with government projects adopting BIM for construction and for the as-built. And then eventually, at this time, so many projects, government projects, mega projects are using BIM in design, construction, up to the operation. To name the few, there are the metro project. There's the stadiums. There are 7 stadiums to be used for the 2022 World Cup. And all of these things have been developed, have been constructed using in the Philippines, back home. If our national government, or maybe if the national government will take some time to adopt this, our organization, the United Architects of the Philippines, and the other Association of Architects, and even the Council of Deans and heads of schools of architectures in the Philippines can help in educating our students and our young architects on using and adopting BIM for their project. So when architects embrace BIM, when all of us start to adopt BIM, the 20,000 or more architects based in the Philippines, few more thousands based abroad, if we all use BIM, there will be a chain reaction. The engineering fields, the suppliers, the contractors will be forced to use BIM. And in the end, it will be a collaborative process which will be saving time and money, not just for the owner of the project, but also for you, architects. You will have more time to work on other projects, and you will have a cost-efficient way of producing presentations, producing construction documents to be used for your project. Maraming salamat po for staying with me. I hope that this review of the Little Book of BIM has been helpful. I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you for staying with me. This is BIM Smart with Aris Basa. And before we end this video, let me share with you the location where I am right now.